This is the Trent England Show. We're back up at the state capitol. It is the beginning of week 2, the 6th school day of the strike. So the best educational research out there tells us that kids are forgetting things, that education is being set back. There's no way around that. I mean, that is a fact, right? There is no way around the fact that kids who are supposed to be in school, we have testing schedules, we have a lot of things. You know, the only thing that hasn't been upset in a lot of districts, sports schedules, right? They're still doing sports practices, what would have been after school, except there's no school. A lot of that is continuing. The things that really matter, right? We know in Oklahoma, a lot of schools, you know, they might not have textbooks, but their athletic facilities are amazing. Catoosa spent $1.5 million on a press box for their football field, right? We know in Oklahoma what really matters, right? Reading, writing, arithmetic, all that has been set back over the last week, and now looks like it's going to be set back over this week as well. But hey, it's all about the kids, right? We're here today. I'm going to go and I'm going to talk to some folks up here and see if we can find out whether they support the latest position of the Oklahoma Education Association. Have you seen, it was after the show on Friday, so we weren't able to cover it on Friday. Have you seen the Oklahoma Education Association is now not calling for another dime for schools? Did you know that? The Oklahoma Education Association, Alicia Priest, last Friday in a press conference said they just want some specific tax increases. They want these, I mean, and it's not just more revenue for government, right? I mean, follow how odd this is. We were told it was all about teacher pay. It was teacher pay, teacher pay, teacher pay. They added a few other things to their demands as time went on, right? But originally it was teacher pay and a little bit of, you know, a few other things in there. And then the legislature passed this historic major tax increase, this historic teacher pay increase, and all of a sudden we're told it's not about teacher pay, it's about education funding. Now we're being told it's not about education funding. It's not even really about funding going to any specific place. It's just about growing government. And not even that, it's about increasing specific taxes. They're going after the hotel-motel tax, and they're going after the capital gains tax exemption that Oklahoma has to equalize Oklahoma with Texas. This is fascinating because this pokes directly at, you know, there are a lot of signs up here, I'm sure we'll see some today, about how people here hate oil companies. They, you know, I guess they hate the people who pay the most taxes in Oklahoma. But these are not taxes on oil companies. These are taxes that go to Oklahoma's competitiveness with other states. They go to conventioneers when conventioneers are deciding what state to host a convention in. They look at how much your hotel rooms cost, and the competition that we have directly with Texas, which has no income tax, has no capital gains tax, because the capital gains tax is a part of an income tax. Oklahoma voters actually in 2004 voted to drop part of our capital gains tax, try to equalize ourselves with Texas when it comes to Oklahoma-based businesses and Oklahoma-based real estate, and the OEA says that has to go. We want to be competitive with Texas when it comes to teacher pay, but not competitive with Texas when it comes to business and investment. That's the OEA's position, and they said they don't care if a dime of that money goes to schools. Let me say that again. They don't care if a dime of that money goes to public schools. This is amazing. We're going to find, I haven't heard anything like that. We were up here 4 days last week. I haven't heard anything like that. But let's go walk around and see what people have to say. Okay, so tell me, who are you and where do you teach?
My name is Alexandria Smart, and I am a second grade teacher at Sperry Elementary in Sperry, Oklahoma.
Okay, and your district is closed today, was closed last week?
Yes, that is correct.
So, you know, a lot of folks are saying, we've heard a lot of talk in Oklahoma about the teacher pay issue, and the legislature raised teacher pay. What do you think about what the legislature's done so far?
Let me think about that. I have a lot of mixed emotions. It's something that is a very big discussion in my house right now. It's been a big discussion for a long time. I think most teachers would agree when I'm speaking for me and my team who's here with me today. We are extremely grateful for the pay raise. I don't think anybody doubts that. I think we're a little sad that it came to this to get to that point. I'm sure you guys have heard for a long time. It's long overdue. That's really, like I said, we're grateful.
So what is it about now for you? And then I want to ask about the OEA, because they had a statement on Friday that I thought was really interesting. But what is it that brings you here, and what is it that would get you to say to your administration in Sperry, let's go back to work?
Okay. We're here for funding. And I think that's why I kind of stopped and paused with the pay raise, because that keeps getting brought up in discussions. And of course, a lot of the negative is about you've got your pay raise, go back to work. For us, it's about funding. I have a 2.5-year-old who is getting ready for school very soon. This is something that we've talked about, my husband and I. We are appropriating money to be able to either send him to public school or possibly even private school. I'm a public education teacher. I wholeheartedly believe in public education. I would love to know that I have options for my kid to be able to go to the school that I teach at. And it's not one in a big district that receives lots of extra money from the community itself. We're a small community, so we don't have a lot of extra revenue coming in. I think our superintendent has done an amazing job of appropriating funds and making sure that our school is always in the black. We've been able to have bonuses that I know other school teachers and personnel have not had, but we also are still very much lacking in just basic essentials that our classrooms need. We don't have full-time janitor staff during the day. I personally have cleaned up vomit off of my classroom floor 7 times since Christmas. When I get back up, it's my assistant principal who's in the building. She's also our special ed director. We have condensed our staff so drastically in the 5 years that I've been at Sperry that it's very disheartening. It's sad to me. And you see it play out in behavioral issues with our kids. Our classroom sizes are big. Again, back to our superintendent, he's done a really good job of protecting our elementary class sizes, because that's, they need that. Probably, I would say, more than, older kids are able to handle a larger class size a little bit better than the smaller ones. I mean, we're still trying to teach them how to read, and we need that one-on-one time. So I'm here for funding. I would like to be able to see our classrooms truly fully funded. And to me, that means just basic personnel, basic classroom staff, extra help and support for our kindergarten and our pre-K classrooms. I'm not even going to talk about textbooks, because, again, our superintendent has done a wonderful job. Our textbook money goes to our textbooks. We've adopted on time with, what the state has allowed us, and we have wonderful new textbooks and wonderful curriculum.
So the OEA said last Friday, and I think a lot of people were surprised by this, that they want 2 specific taxes raised, and at least according to Alicia Priest, they don't care if that money goes to schools or goes to somewhere else. Do you all agree with that? That just seemed like a strange message, but I know a lot of teachers aren't affiliated with the OEA. So what do you think?
I'm going to speak for myself. I am not affiliated with the OEA. There is a lot that I cannot get behind, and I'm not for that. I'm here for myself. I'm here for my child. I'm here for the students that I've had in my classroom. I'm here trying to represent my school in an appropriate manner. I don't necessarily agree with all of that. I'm not for some of the bills that are being pushed, because my husband and I, we're middle class. A lot of those taxes affect the middle class, and they want to tax more on higher income earners. I'm not about that business either. I would get stoned probably. I'm sure a lot of people are not going to like what I'm saying, because I am a public education teacher, but I'm also a parent. I'm an honest taxpayer. We give to lots of organizations of our money and our time, our service, and I'm not for some of what's being pushed, but I do think that I've dedicated my time here all last week trying to learn. I have gone in to speak with different representatives and senators, and my job has been to conduct myself in a manner that they see that I am more than qualified for the profession that I'm in, and to learn. I want to know where this money is. I want to know what their options are, and I've heard some really good options for increasing revenue to the general fund so that education can have more that doesn't have to come from taxes. And I don't know all the ins and outs. I'm not a politician, I'm not a businessman, I'm not a lawyer. I don't necessarily know all the ins and outs of that, but I would like to see that our state as a whole can start to pull in money from stable, that's been the word I've used a lot, stuff that isn't tied to a fluctuating economy. I'd like stable, non-tax related forms of revenue coming back to our schools.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Okay, so tell me your name and where do you teach?
My name is Angel Alvarez. I teach at Eisenhower International School in Tulsa Public School in the district.
In Tulsa. So what brings you out today? So you're from Spain. You're a guest teacher here. What brings you here to the capital?
We are many exchange visitor teachers from Spain who are teaching Spanish in immersion on dual language, and we really support the American teacher because they've got the reason. This is a really poor situation. You can imagine in many places the situation of from the teacher, from the pupils with no materials, with no funds. It's really difficult to work with an older materials than the currently times.
How does it compare to? Did you teach in Spain? How does it compare to Spain?
In Spain, I can compare because it's really difficult to say it. In Spain, we've got very bad politicians, and it's really difficult to compare. But we have the same situation with the district, with the resources we are going to work in the school. But I feel more support people in Oklahoma. They are always trying to back you in order to get what you want. I think the situation here is really good because you can change what you want if you feel this kind of support, this kind of people helping you every day, trying to help each other with the rest of teacher, with parents. We have a very good relation. In Spain, is not enough good. In Spain, if you say I'm teacher, everybody's going to think, oh, you are teacher, you are going to have 3 months of vacation. It's really difficult to understand. In Spain, the job of teacher is really hard.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay, so your wife is a teacher. Where does she teach?
She teaches in Lawton, Oklahoma at Sullivan Village Elementary School.
Okay, and your sign says, I'll let you read it.
Stop the cuts, fund education.
So the legislature passed a big package, tax increases, big spending increase, I guess now more than a week ago. What do you think about that?
Well, they passed a bill, but it's not enough to fully fund education. Teachers need more than just a couple of dollars to be able to support the kids here in Oklahoma.
Well, it's the biggest increase in pay for any group of state workers, I think, in state history. I mean, it's a $6,000 to $8,000 raise, or $5,000 to $8,000 raise, averages $6,100 with some other funding for textbooks and things. That's more than a couple dollars, right?
Yes, it is, but that's only for teacher pay. Most of it doesn't cover the funding itself for teachers to be able to properly get things in the classroom, such as books, things such as chairs, and so many other things, paper, pencils, and pens. A lot of the teachers are coming out of their own pockets right now to be able to take care of our students.
I know some schools in Oklahoma have given like a MacBook for every kid or another kind of laptop or something for every kid. I don't know how it is in Lawton, but I mean, do you feel like at least some school districts maybe are not prioritizing teachers and textbooks, and instead they're prioritizing maybe athletic facilities and computers?
Well, here in Oklahoma, a lot of teachers are actually making more money just by crossing the borders of Oklahoma. And in order for us to stop that big wave from leaving the state, we've got to be able to fund education. Some schools have some things, but a lot of the schools don't have things such as iPads, MacBooks, or Android tablets. So we've got to be able to support the entire state of Oklahoma.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks. Socialists don't want to talk to us, Clint. What's that? I'm Trent England. That's who I am. That's the name of the show. So you guys are out here in public with the Jacobin magazine, the Democratic Left. Why are you here for all this?
Oh, because we support teachers and their right to organize as workers.
So public education in Oklahoma today. Do you think the OEA is asking for the right things? I guess.
Some of the right things, I think.
What else should they ask for?
Oh, well, I don't know. I feel like I'm not really, I shouldn't really speak as a spokesman for the DSA. But
what do you think? You're out here today. What do you think? I mean, is this not one would guess you're out here with the Socialist Party. It doesn't go far enough, I would assume, right?
well, obviously. I mean, worker control of the means of production would be ideal.
Okay.
All for all sort of system. I mean, full communism is the ultimate goal, but maybe
we should close the show with the International or something. after that last interview there. What a diversity. Now, here's the real takeaway, I think, from today's conversations, and even some of the people we talked to last week. I think we started out the show on Monday talking with a teacher who said she would give up her entire raise to have that money spent on other things in her school. I think the bottom line is, the OEA claims to represent the people who are up here, but when you actually wander around and talk to people, nobody that I can find supports the OEA's position that taxes should go up and it doesn't matter if the money goes to public schools. That's what Alicia Priest said on Friday. She said it. She was pushed by a reporter and ran in the Oklahoma, and she doesn't care where the money goes. She wants tax increases. And look, there's a political angle to all this. We talked last week about the Janus case. That's the case out of Illinois that is going to basically make all public sector unions, all government worker unions across the country, like it is in Oklahoma, like it is in states where it's right to work, where you can't be fired for refusing to join or to pay a labor union. That case is going to come down in June. It's very likely to go against the unions, and so you have all of these public sector labor unions, like the Oklahoma Education Association's national affiliate, the National Education Association, looking for ways to gin up interest, to put the focus on them, to put the spotlight on them, to create some value prop for what they do. And so that's one side. We talked about that on the show last week. The other aspect of all this is elections coming up in the fall. Obviously, we have filing week is this week. It's the beginning of filing week in Oklahoma, and we're going to have primaries and runoffs, and we're going to have the general election in November. And the other side of all of this is it's an open secret in people who are in the know in politics in Oklahoma that if you can get Republican legislators to vote for tax increases, it makes it easier to defeat them in the fall, because a lot of Republican voters, Oklahoma, by the way, happens to be a really red state, right? A lot of Republican voters don't want to support legislators or other candidates who have supported tax increases. And so one of the things that I think Alicia Priest's comments on Friday suggested is a shift to a strategy that really is, while it's not talking about November, it's really looking at November, looking at tarnishing the images of a lot of legislators who have ran as conservatives in the past, trying to put them in a position where they will be more vulnerable, because conservatives won't want to come out and support them. Conservatives might sit out the election if they have voted for tax increase after tax increase after tax increase. They might get a pass on tax increases that were tied to a teacher pay raise. That, the polling shows, is really popular. But the tax increases that Alicia Priest, the OEA, wants now, not tied to a teacher pay raise, that is not going to be easy to explain if conservative legislators start voting for those things. So I think some of what happened last Friday and the shift even over this last weekend really is, as far as the institutions that are pushing what's going on, that are pushing the school closures across the state of Oklahoma, it's becoming much more political, much less about policy. It's becoming less about schools and more about the power brokers looking at influencing the elections this summer and into November. That is what I think we're seeing a little bit of up here. But obviously, the other reality is you've got a lot of energy, a lot of people up here. They don't all agree with the OEA. In fact, we've heard from people who are to the right of the OEA and people who are way to the left of the OEA, right? Just in the conversation just a minute ago. But they're here. They're at the Capitol. They're asking for something. The question is, can legislators put together an answer that actually gets schools reopened, or can they otherwise? I mean, I've also heard people pushing legislation that would basically say you can't shut down schools and make shutting down schools illegal. That's the way it is in Texas. That's the way it is in a lot of other states. And so we have people talking all across the spectrum about how to get schools reopened in Oklahoma. Of course, I should remind us as we close the show, a lot of schools are open. The majority of Oklahoma school districts are not closed, as far as we know. Of course, a lot of those are very small districts. The big school districts in Oklahoma have shut down. That means the majority of students are not having the opportunity to learn. Didn't have that opportunity last week, not having that opportunity today. Districts talking about being out all week at this point. But nobody knows for sure what it actually is that would get those schools reopened. And we're going to talk more about that on the show as we go through this week. You can find a lot of resources, including our data tool at ocpathink.org. If you want to look at your school district spending, your school district's enrollment trends. I know we talked to somebody last week on the show who said, well, my district has lost teachers. You can go there and you can find out, well, your district has also lost students, right? You're losing teachers because you're losing students. ocpathink.org. If you just want to get the data, or if you want to get some insight, some analysis, you can find it all there as well. ocpathink.org. I'm Trent England. Thanks for watching the show. Remember, you can subscribe on YouTube, iTunes. We're on SoundCloud. We're on Facebook. Interact with me there. I'd love to hear from you on Facebook. Thanks for watching.